Hey everyone, Terri Bemis here with WaterSong Creek Creations, back with more Christmas in July. Our last video, we did a multimedia mixed art, couple of pieces making Christmas trees on wood palette out of washers and little glass beads. They turned out so pretty. And this time we're going to be using wood slice ornaments. And I've got some seashells, some little glass beads. I've got mermaid and turtle molds that I used my ProGlas 1000 resin to create, and some acrylic paints just to make some really unique, unusual Christmas ornaments with a beach theme. So I'll show you what we're going to use, and let's get started. Hi everyone. So we're continuing with the Christmas in July theme. And I have here some of the wood slice ornaments that are so popular. And we're going to make little angel ornaments out of seashells. If anybody knows what these seashells are called, I'd love to know. I don't even know if they're originally together and they've been broken apart, or if this is how they're made. I've just never seen these shells before, but we were in Myrtle Beach on our way back from visiting our daughter in South Carolina and found these and couldn't resist. So I'm using some little Dollar Tree round glass beads that are flat on one side. I had some of that bag of jewelry that I took apart. These little pieces were there that I thought made an awful cute halo. I'm going to paint the dress in this French blue folk art acrylic and use Crafter's Pick glue to hold these down initially. This is the most fabulous glue. It's at Hobby Lobby, and it's wonderful. It really holds things down well. Frankly, I have never worked with wood slice ornaments before. The bark is kind of delicate and it wants to peel off fairly easily. So I'm reluctant to, well, I'm not reluctant. I don't know how yet. I'm going to do the back as far as the drips go. I think if I put tape down when I peel it, it's a chance that the bark will come off. So I don't know yet. I might shellac the back, and then I'll feel confident to tape it and pour resin. I just got to experiment a little, so we're going to learn together. And maybe in the comments you can tell me how you do it. I know that the wood bark is very popular, so we'll find out. All right, so I'm just going to pour out a little bit of this French blue. I really liked this color. And draw a little triangle to make the dress for the angel. And I didn't measure anything. I think I started a little off center, so already it's like yikes. But we'll just fill it in and see what happens. You know, I haven't found too much that you can't go back and fix if you mess up. So I used to freak out when something didn't go exactly as planned, and then I just finally realized that it doesn't have to be perfect, and if it gets broke, there's usually a fix. So there we are. That's way thicker than I want it to be, because that will take a long time to dry. And generally when I'm working on stuff, a long time is not my friend. So I'm going to use the heat gun. And I've got 10 of these. Now that I'm back home in Lake County, Florida, I wish I had bought more of these shells. Only bought 20 of them to do 10. And like I say, I haven't seen these shells before, so I don't know. thing about a heat gun, if you leave it on too long, I don't know if you can tell, but that started to bubble because part of it was dry and part of it now isn't. Right over here is still a little damp. This is dry and that started to bubble. So, gotta be careful a little bit. Okay, so let's see what we accomplished here. I want this low enough that the halo goes on without blocking this hole that is pre-drilled to get the ribbon through. So that looks okay. You know, anytime I do an angel, I always kind of want to put the halo on sideways, like maybe the angel's had a little bad reputation on Earth, a little leftover. That's silly, but it's kind of fun to be different. I suspect there won't be angels with attitude in heaven. There, that looks pretty good. I like how that looks. So, I'm going to give that just a few minutes to dry further before I start putting the glue down. So I'll go ahead and not make you watch me paint all these others. But when I come back, we'll be ready to glue. So I made the decision to spray the back of the wood slice ornaments that we've been working on. I'm going to spray the back with the clear aerosol lacquer and see what that does as far as holding the bark on. I got the clear semi-gloss. I would have liked to have had the full gloss, but they didn't have any for sale. So I'm not going to make you watch me do that, but I'm going to take these all outside, spray the back of them, let them dry, and then we'll get back to work on them. All right, see you soon. While I'm waiting for the little angel dresses to dry, I am working on some mermaid, ornaments as well. I have 3 mermaid molds, and when I have a resin pour with leftover resin, I just always keep those molds handy. I've got some turtle molds as well, so I can make my own. As a matter of fact, I just finished the Christmas trees and had leftovers, so I added some white to it and poured that in my mermaid mold. That's one. This is another one. Of course, they're much more detailed on the front and quite 3D, quite deep. And my little turtle molds are these. So, always good to keep some molds handy on hand so your leftovers don't go to waste. And I'm going to, pardon me, this is, I can't even read that. It's got paint on it, but I got them at Target. These little acrylic paints at Target. So I'm doing a rather dark blue. I'll go back and lighten it up just a little bit because this first one was way too dark. And I just went back and dabbed it with a paper towel and took some of that depth off and let the white show through, and it gave it a much nicer look instead of one-dimensional. So I'll just lighten it up that way. That is a little bit onto the wood, and I have been trying to leave the wood showing. And then what I have here is some white paint that I really watered down. It's just an apple barrel white from Walmart. And I watered it probably 70-30. It's really, really watery. And all I've done is dip, and I mean barely dip, the tip of a sponge brush and wipe it off a little and just kind of ocean wavy, which is what I did here. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and just dab it so that it, now it looks like a paper towel. All right, that's a mess. And that's what happens sometimes. So I like it when mistakes happen, so you can learn with me. That's a little better. And then once that dries, she'll go on there and look very nice. In fact, I turned my heat gun way down and using it on the low setting. And that is so watery that that's going to dry almost instantly. And once it's dry, it's way more muted looking than a hard white color. So that is exactly what I would like that, how the look I want on that. That's perfect. And then I used, oops, here they are. I used some little acrylic beads that are flat on one side to just simulate some water. I just need to give this a little interest, a little movement, so it's not so plain. And I may try one or two of them. Oh, here it is. I may try one or two of them with the crushed glass. That might look a little prettier and definitely give it more sparkle. So I'm going to go through and finish painting these mermaid ones blue and probably do a teal for the blue turtles and some kind of a light blue for the green turtles. And then I have an orange octopus here. I'll do a really light blue. Let's see if I can reach it. All my equipment here. I think I'll do this blue with that. I think those two look really pretty together. So, yeah, I'll be back. So just to catch you up on what happened between when that last part ended and this started, I found that the spray lacquer really did not do much toward holding the bark on as I had hoped and then being able to tape down the back. So what I did was I went ahead and used the Crafter's Pick glue and adhered all of the pieces onto the board and decided to just use a sponge brush and paint on the resin, which is not something that I do very often at all, but in this case it seemed the right thing. I just did not want anything to be dripping over the edge and chance all of those soft pieces of bark coming off. So I just mixed up 3 ounces of resin and used a sponge brush to thinly brush the resin on. I was careful to go all around all of the pieces so that they adhered well, and then make sure that I covered every part of the wood so that everything had that beautiful shine that resin gives it. The thing about using a sponge brush with resin is it becomes really full of micro bubbles very quickly. So I used 2 different brushes. I had to throw one away about 2/3 of the way through because the micro bubbles were just bad. And but all in all, it worked out very well. And the only thing that surprised me a little bit, and I shouldn't have been surprised, was when I was using the torch to get rid of the bubbles, and there were bubbles because a sponge brush is going to introduce bubbles, period. The little bits of bark would burn off, so there'd be a quick little flash flame, and once I realized that that's what it was and there wasn't any resin catching on fire, then I knew I was okay with that, so that worked out well. The turtles were a little more challenging because they had a lot more pieces sticking up that I needed to get under with the brush, so those took just a little longer to get the resin on as nicely as I wanted it to be, but in the end it all worked out fine. I think this is a great way to put resin on wood, and it's something I will be doing again in the future. So this was just the first batch of Christmas ornaments for looking forward to, well, really November. I guess some people even start shopping for Christmas in October. Well, there's people that shop all year long, but as far as from a maker's standpoint, you want to start having things ready by early October. And this is July, so I'm a little bit more ahead of the game than I normally am. So I'm happy about that. So here are some of the finished pieces. As you can see, they've just got a beautiful shiny finish, just like you'd want them to look, covered in resin. We had the glue on them to hold them down, but this just seals them extra firm. They just look really nice. I left the back natural. Have the pretty ribbon on, ready to hang on the tree. And I think they just turned out really, really well. Here's one of the mermaids. As I said, I've got a couple of different mermaid designs. Here's one of them. Those little bubbles and the little ocean waves in the background were all just really nice touches. There's another one. And that ProGlas 1000 resin is just so shiny and beautiful. Rock hard. I just love this resin. So there you go. There's one idea for wood slice ornaments for Christmas. I'd love to see what you are working on for Christmas. It's not too late to start thinking about it. If you're a maker, then you can't wait until October to start for Christmas. So send me some of your ideas and designs. I'd love to see them. And until next time, take care.